My favorite work of art is a book titled The Iron King by Julie Kagawa. I first encountered this book when I was about 10 years old, which, if I'm being perfectly honest, I probably wasn't completely mature enough to read at the time. It was, however, a Christmas gift from my father, so either he trusted me to be mature enough to handle it, or he just saw the pretty cover and decided it would be a good book for a young girl. This book was my first encounter with the literary fantasy world of magic. I wasn't a fan of Harry Potter books at the time for the simple fact that the mainstream hype was being shoved down my throat. For the first time, I was learning about fairies in a way Celtic lore perceived them, as opposed to Disney's Tinkerbell. It inspired me to start writing my own book, which, though I've yet to finish, I continue going back to and editing every once in a while. This is my favorite piece of media because it's my original drive to do what I do today. I have since moved on from creative writing to visual art, but a great deal of what I draw ties back to the fantasies I developed since reading Mrs. Kagawa's novel. It's also one of the first books that introduced me to teenage romance. I will admit that I was one of the millions of young girls that pined after the sparkling vampires in Stephenie Meyer's Twilight Saga. But in my opinion, The Iron King is a far more relatable experience to a budding preteen. As I've said before, the book has inspired me to bring my fantasies to life, to give them a reality. I've tried various mediums to express this, but I think illustration suits my style best. I've done research on my culture's lore, and the lores from other cultures as well. Julie's book made me realize that I have had a fear of stories being forgotten, so I've pursued the immortalization of forgotten lore in the best way I can. I want to share that love for fantasy I got from the Iron King with other children and people in general. I don't want that magic to become forgotten as we continue our pursuit of technology towards the future.